Hey, it's Pastor James, and welcome back to this online devotional. It is Wednesday of Holy Week, and our text we're focusing on today is Matthew 26, 57 to 75. When you read that, and I hope you will read it, it is a text that includes stories of two different examinations. One is of Peter, and if you've read the Bible much, you know that this is a point in the gospel story where Peter denies Jesus 3 times. In essence, he's asked by 3 different people if he's a follower of Jesus, and each time he says, I am not. And Peter essentially failed the examination. In fact, when he realized what he'd done, he was really grieved and sad and sorry about doing that. The other examination is the examination of Jesus. And Jesus, not surprisingly, remains truthful, remains confident in his calling, and is unabashedly committed to this mission to be the Messiah to save the world. And when Jesus is answering those questions that are asked of him, he knows exactly what is going to happen. He knows that by telling the truth, he is going to be exposed, he is going to be convicted, and they are going to use his answers to deliver him for the crucifixion. He could have, I guess, said no to those questions. He could have lied. We would not know salvation. We would not know redemption if he had done that. And frankly, that would be so counter to his character that it would be impossible for him to do that. 2 examinations. Peter failed. Jesus passed. And because Jesus passed, because Jesus stuck with his mission, he gave us the opportunity to be saved and to be redeemed. And we rejoice in that, right? The question I ask for you is, what happens when you're faced with that examination? What happens when somebody says to you, are you one of those people that follow Jesus? How are you going to answer? I know the first place we go in that is the question of martyrdom. If somebody stands with a gun to your head, like there have been in many sad cases here in the United States at a time, like Columbine, where people were being asked that before they were shot, and it's certainly happening in other places in the world. That's a real issue. And we have talked a bit about, what would I do if I were in that place, a gun was to my head? How would I respond? Would I have the courage to respond? Well, I hope you have the courage to respond faithfully. But you know what? I think that's probably not the most fruitful conversation, because that's likely never going to happen to us. But I'll give you a pro tip on that if it does happen. If you're in that circumstance, just use a scared double negative. So when somebody comes up to you and says, are you a Christian? And they're threatening to blow your brains out, just say to them, I am not a Christian. See, that's a double negative, which in a sense you're saying, I am a Christian, and they'll probably walk away not realizing you just gave them a double negative, and you're going to be okay with them, and you're going to be okay with God. Now, for the real issue, the real challenge, the real examination is more likely, what do you do when somebody in your office hears you talking in a way that they ask, surely you're not one of those people that are Christians, are you? Or somebody who's struggling and you hear that they have a need and you go to their aid and you support them. Are you willing to say, I do this because I love God, God loves me, and because God loves me, I love you, and I want to encourage you and care for you? That's the usual place that we're faced with examination. And here's the reality. In our country, it is getting harder and harder to feel like you can make public declarations about what you believe. We are more and more inclined to keep our faith secret. But if we do that, we're not honoring the God who has redeemed us and saved us from any of the powers and principalities and the forces of this world. We're not showing our trust in him. And 2, that we're not giving God the opportunity to use us to bring his good news to the people around us. How would you respond? Somebody at your office says, are you a Christian? Would you have the kind of confidence and the conviction that Jesus had? Now, if you struggle, don't worry. Peter struggled. God forgave him. Jesus reconciled with him. God will forgive you too. But I encourage you, ponder that, pray about that, pray for that time, so that, as Paul says, in season and out of season, if that question is asked of you, that you'd be ready to give an answer. What would your answer be? And you know what? If that's happened to you, I'd love to hear your stories. And so comment in the comment section, and maybe your story will encourage somebody else to be able to give their testimony and say yes when they're asked about whether or not they follow Jesus. Hope you have a great day. And we'll see you tomorrow night for the Monday, Thursday worship service at 7 p.m. in the sanctuary.